You are listening to the Why Smart Women podcast, the podcast that helps smart women work out why we repeatedly make the wrong decisions and how to make better ones. From relationships, career choices, finances, to faux fur jackets and kale smoothies. Every moment of every day, we're making decisions. Let's make them good ones. I'm your host, Annie McCubbin, and as a woman of a certain age, I've made my own share of really bad decisions. Not my husband. I don't mean him, though. I did go through some shockers to find him. And I wish this podcast had been around to save me from myself. This podcast will give you insights into the working of your own brain, which will blow your mind. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm recording, and you are listening on this day. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. Well, hello, smart women. If any of you had been listening to the audiobook of Why Smart Women Make Bad Decisions and How Critical Thinking Can Protect Them, which we have played over about the last 10 weeks, you might like to tune in to the next 15 weeks and listen to the audio recording of my second book, which is Why Smart Women Buy the Lies and How Critical Thinking Reveals the Truth. So this is a continuation of the hapless character Kat, how she identifies the flaws in her thinking and finally makes better decisions. If you find yourself tuning in and you are perhaps in episode 3 or episode 4, by all means, go back to episode 1 and follow the narrative because it has a very strong narrative arc. So, relax, kick back, get yourself a cup of tea or a glass of wine and listen to the audio version of Why Smart Women Buy the Lies and How Critical Thinking Reveals the Truth. See you soon. Bye. Chapter 15. Lydia is no longer the worst boss. Work Wellbeing Sure,
1 month after
ASX
Charlotte's sudden disappearance,
today announced
you're sitting on one of the benches in the
governance
community garden,
structures, resulting in a
drinking tea
change
from
of the
Mrs.
senior
Kovacic's
executive
thermos.
team. That change is
Mrs. Yee is
Ms.
sitting
Lydia
next to Mrs.
Vaughan,
Kovacic,
currently
who is giving her a
Executive General Manager for Corporate
blow-by-blow
Affairs and
description
Communications,
of
will
Charlotte's
step
deceit.
down from her role today.
No.
Says Mrs.
Work
Yee. Wellbeing Sure's CEO, David Firth, said,
no.
I want to thank
I knew
Lydia
right
Vaughan
from
for
the
her 18
start.
years of
Mrs.
service
Kovacic
to WWS
concludes,
He did
and her
not fool
unwavering
me for
commitment
1
to our
second.
values.
That
The
Charlotte
company is far more authentic,
Jet.
accountable,
She lost
and
money big
innovative because of
time.
Lydia.
Yep,
We wish her
you think
well.
to yourself,
Inquiries,
we just keep
Saxby
reconstructing
Sims.
our reality
Email,
in the retelling.
hello@saxbysims.com.
The days are
Instagram
getting
@Saxby
longer.
Sims,
The
Facebook
air is warmer.
@Saxby Sims,
Will and
SPR,
Mr.
Twitter
Kovacic are pulling up
@Saxby Sims.
turnips.
Oh
I
no!
don't know why we grow these.
Poor
Says
Lydia.
Mr. Kovacic.
You go straight to
means
her
Mrs.
desk. She is
Kovacic
packing
makes the
her
soup,
things into a
and we have
box.
to eat
She
it.
turns to you.
Stop
I'm
complaining.
apparently not what
Says
the business
Mrs.
needs
Kovacic.
right
I
now.
put extra
What does the
chili.
business need right now?
Drink this.
She shrugs.
She hands
Not an
Mr.
inspector.
Kovacic a cup of
Elizabeth
tea.
arrives at
Evel,
Lydia's desk.
Did you know that
Sorry,
the thermos
Lydia.
is greatest invention of all time?
Saxby Sims.
says
What do they
Will.
know about
Think
the
about
Australian
it.
market? They'll
If
cost
you
the
put in
business
a
a
cold drink, the
fortune.
thermos
Thing
keep it
is,
cold.
says
If you
Lydia.
put in
What
a
no
hot
one
drink,
noticed is
it
that
keep
I
it
was
hot,
going
yeah?
to quit.
How
I
does it
can't
know
stay
the
and watch Gabriel
difference?
Randall destroy the place.
Don't
She packs the
listen
last
to that
notepad in her
nonsense.
briefcase.
Because of him,
Kovacic,
I nearly threw
Amelia's
away my
still
redundancy.
laying.
Says
How
Willow.
dumb would that have been?
Still time for her
18
to go in
years.
pot.
Michael
So
and
you're
Alec
okay,
are
you
constructing
say?
a tomato
Of course
trellis.
I'm okay.
You can hear them
Go
murmuring
for an
to each
operational
other.
role,
How are you
Kat.
feeling?
Internal
Says Michael.
services isn't the
Bit
place
better.
for you.
Says Alec.
If you want a
All
future.
stable.
Well, Monsieur
Education's
Lydia.
helping.
Says Lisbeth.
Kids are at
Don't
the
be
local public
ridiculous.
school.
Says Lydia.
No,
Big
you won't.
financial relief.
Who will ring me on Saturday night
Says
to ask me to
Michael.
update
I'm learning a
corporate
bit
values?
more about what
I'm sorry
triggers
I
me.
made your life difficult.
And
she
I've
says.
cut out the
I think you're
smokes.
very talented.
Says Alec. You want to
Sounds
hug
like
her,
you're doing all the right
but as
things.
you've never so
Yeah,
much as
so
patted
they
her on the
tell
back,
me.
you don't.
Therapist reckons I'll be
The
able to go
hipster.
back to air traffic.
Again.
Can't
But
imagine
that
it
night you are
myself.
home,
In time.
making lasagna
You know, I
with
was
Mrs.
terrified of
Kovacic.
snakes for a time.
So this
Really?
Lydia gets
Not
the
really.
boot.
Just
She
trying to
says,
make you feel
you
better."
better be careful they don't get rid of you.
I'm okay.
You say. Well,
The
you
senior
think to yourself,
leadership
a
team
big
is
tick
safe.
for Michael with
Hello,
Keith here.
all.
You turn around.
Safe.
Mrs. There is a knock at your door. Towards you with a
Open it.
tall
A
woman
man
in a
is
stunning
standing
Camilla
there.
and Mark
Yes?
suit.
Hello,
Charlotte
I'm
would be
Detective
envious.
Bradley from the Surrey Hills
The woman
Crime
looks
Squad.
vaguely
He flashes
familiar.
his ID. Hello, Mrs.
Are you Katrina
Yee.
Mitchell?
Hello,
Yes.
everyone.
I wonder if I could have a chat.
Could I ask
May I
you
come
to
in?
join
You
us?
motion
Mrs.
towards
Hume
the
leads the
room.
group to the
Mrs.
fence line to
Kovacic
the
is
east of
standing
the
at the
allotment,
entrance
facing
in
the
the
kitchen,
disused
wiping her
bowling
hands
club on a tea
This
towel.
This is a
my
private
good
matter.
friend
It might
and
be better if
business
I speak to you
partner,
alone.
Sansia
private matter in
Burridge.
regards
Mrs.
to
Hume
what?
says.
Is my family okay?
You recognise her from
Yes,
her
it's not about your
Wikipedia
family.
page.
She looks
Hi,
at Mrs.
everyone.
Kovacic.
Says
It's
Sansia.
okay, she's my
Sansia
neighbour.
and
She
I
doesn't
have
speak
started
English.
a foundation.
Mrs. Kovacic looks
We're
at
going to
you.
develop this area.
I've been
the
given your
garden
name in
and
relation
the
to a Noel
clubhouse.
Simpkins.
To make it so more people
The
can
sound
come
of his
here.
name is says like a Sansia. punch
And
to your
enjoy
chest.
it. And because
Right.
you are
So,
my
do you know him?
inspiration,
Is he
I
dead?
wanted you
Why? Do
to
you
know
have information
first.
that he might be?
Mrs. Yee
I've had
puts
nothing
her
to do with
hands
him
on
for more than
either
2
side of her
years.
face.
Why would you assume he was
Oh,
dead?
Mrs.
Susan
Hume.
jumps in your lap.
I
Be
just
so
thought
happy. That's why police
Now,
came
Willow,
to your
Mrs.
door.
Hume
Not
says,
that I'd care. I mean,
big enough for
I'd take
horses,
to agree that
but we'll
he's
be
a human
able to
being,
do
but
something with
apart
it.
from that,
Willow
you
throws
wish the
her
detective
fists
would
in the
go
air.
away.
Yes.
Whatever the
yes,
hipster has
not
done, you
horses,
don't want to have to
but
think
the
about it.
autistic kids
Mr.
should start
Simpkins
out
is
on
a suspect
ponies.
in a financial
Or, if
crime
not art
investigation.
classes, we could
Mrs.
have an
Kovacic
orchard
clasps
or
her
a
hand
pond,
across
so
her
we should be
mouth.
careful in case
Right.
the kids can't swim.
He's upgraded
Mrs.
from being a
Kovacic looks
gaslighting
confused.
narcissist.
It
What
appears
does
that Mr.
Mrs.
Simpkin was in a
Hume mean,
relationship
Nikki?
with
It's Michael.
He pauses,
Mr.
looking
Kovacic.
down at his
I don't
notes.
think she's bought the land.
Rebecca
Your
Larkin.
phone dings with a text.
He has disappeared, and it
Hi,
appears
Kat.
he has taken with him
Still
money
job hunting?
from Miss Larkin's
Good
bank
opportunity
account
for
and her
you at
Range
my new
Rover.
company. Mrs.
Interested?
Kovacic's eyes
Lydia.
widen.
You text back.
So, Rebecca
Only if
from the real
demiurgic is a
estate
value.
has copped it
Her
in the
reply
neck.
comes quickly.
You don't believe in
Of
karma.
course it's not Kat.
But it would seem
Do
justice
you remember
has
Lydia
been
has
served.
no sense of
She
humour,
took your
and that's
boyfriend.
okay.
He took
You give
her
a thumbs
car
up.
and the contents of her
Coda.
bank account.
What's this have
It
to
is
do with
dusk.
me?
Rebecca
You're
Larkin
standing at
gave
your
us her
window
details.
holding a
Mrs.
plastic
Kovacic
stick
licks her tongue
in your hand.
Oh, did she?
I
You look at
understand
it
you had a
again.
relationship with Mr.
Turn
Simpkins.
it upside
You point
down,
to your
shake
lap.
it a bit,
This is Susan.
and look at it
Okay.
again. The
She says,
result
"Kat."
is the same.
He walked out
put it
2
in your
years ago
pocket.
and left her.
You've been standing
all
in
you
the
need to
same
know about
position
him.
for half an hour
So he left
watching
his
the
cat,
street.
but did he rob you in any way?
You see
Mrs.
him pull up in
Kovacic
his car,
exhales heavily,
leaning
carefully
back on
and
the
crosses
couch.
the street.
Only of my sanity,
He looks
you
up
think
at the
to
window.
yourself.
He's carrying a bunch
You
of
don't want the
flowers.
past clawing its way
Porridge.
back into your life.
Susan.
You don't want to think
She's
about
home.
the time
Porridge
you wasted
runs to
trying
the door and
please the
crouches.
hipster.
Susan
you
is
don't want to
indifferent.
remember the sheer
She
misery
sits on
of
the
his
counter
betrayal.
licking her
You were
paw,
happy with Michael.
watching for
he
any
may not have the
movement you
hipster's
may
charm
make
or
towards
looks,
the fridge.
but he also doesn't
The door
gaslight you
opens.
or sleep
Porridge
with
is
Rebecca from the
euphoric.
real estate
He
during
puts
a
his
mold
paws up on
inspection.
Michael's
Mr.
chest.
Simpkins has also
Susan
left a trail of
turns her
coaching
back.
clients
Hey,
who
buddy.
paid for services
Good to see
that
you
aren't being
too.
delivered.
Hey,
Coaching
Hey,
clients.
why are you standing in the
suckers, you
dark?
think.
I'm making
What are you waiting
inquiries
for,
to
the milk?
determine the scale
No,
of Mr.
you.
Simpkins' deception
Okay.
He
and
lowers
whether it
Porridge's
warrants a
paws to
formal
the
investigation by the crime
walks over to
commission.
the counter,
Did he
puts
take
down
anything
the
of yours
flowers
that
and
wasn't
scratches
his?
Susan
Mrs.
behind the
Kovacic
ears.
kicks the table.
She leans
Yes, he
into
did.
his
He
hand
took
and
this coffee
meows
table.
towards
The
the
detective
fridge.
looks at the table.
He
This one?
raises his
Yes.
eyebrows at you.
Mrs.
What's
Kovacic
up?
picks up
You
the
produce
remote,
the
hands
stick
it
from
to
your
you.
pocket,
Oh, yes,
holding
and
it
this
between your
remote.
thumb and
Your
forefinger.
neighbour seems to
I
be
did a
following the
test.
conversation quite well.
You
She
had
just has a
COVID.
few
He
basic
picks up
sentences.
Susan and takes
You
a
look at
step
Mrs.
backward.
Kovacic,
No,
then
mime drinking
not
tea.
COVID.
She
returns
hauls
Susan to
herself
the
up and
counter.
reluctantly trudges into the
There was a
kitchen.
deep
So
silence.
you're saying Noel Simpkins took items from
Yep.
your flat that didn't belong
Really?
to him?
The room
Yes.
takes on the
He also
quality
took
of a
the washing
macabre
machine
painting
and
in
dryer
the evening
and my
light.
Moroccan tea set.
He
Everything
pauses
was
his
soft
writing and looks
blurred.
up at you.
But the table and
Michael
remote have
doesn't
been
move
returned.
towards you.
Under
He doesn't
duress.
smile.
My neighbour, Mr. Kovacic,
Perhaps he
paid
will
him a
leave
visit.
you. He's only
Did he
young.
return the washing machine and
Perhaps
dryer?
too young.
Yes.
There's a
I
crash
guess that
in the kitchen. You
eliminates
put
the lowest
Susan on the
common
floor
count
and
for
go
you.
into the kitchen.
Would you like
Mrs.
me to call
Kovacic
Charlotte
grabs you by the
and
arm
tell
and
her?
drags you
He
behind
moves
the
towards
fridge.
you and
Tell him about
smiles.
the kiss.
Finally,
She whispers.
Yes, please.
Pull your arm
he
away.
picks you up.
I brought you flowers.
Whisper back.
He's
Your
a detective.
favourite.
He's
not a
remembered
paranormal
ranunculus.
investigator.
She
I'm going
grabs
to
your
buy a
other
mini
arm.
chicken T-shirt for the baby.
He gently touches your forehead,
I'm not
runs
talking
his
to the
finger along the
detective about
scar.
your imaginary
I love you, Kat
curse.
All okay,
He
Miss
says,
Mitchell?
Yes, fine.
And somewhere
just showing
deep
Mrs.
inside
Kovacic
you,
where the milk
far
is.
away from
Would
any
you like
thoughts
tea?
you have about
Oh,
people
Yes,
and
please.
lies and
Milk and 2
neighbours.
sugars.
You open the
know it's
fridge,
to
you
be
pull the
true.
milk out and put it in Mrs.
You remember the
Kravach's
goal-setting
hands.
session
She
at the
narrows
gym
her
and how
eyes
you've
at
written
you.
down,
Please just make the tea.
Decide if
Put your
Michael
finger
is the
to your
one.
lips.
You re-enter
you
the
know.
lounge room. Susan
And you
has
are
parked
happy.
herself next to the detective. He is scratching her behind the ears.
Sweet cat.
He says,
She's not really. She's pretty cranky. She's only being
garden
nice
of
because she
happiness.
doesn't want to go to cat
"What
prison.
makes us
He
happy?"
smiles at you.
Well, the
You
research
sit
is
on the
in.
armchair.
There are
Susan
two kinds
leaves
of
the detective's
happiness.
side and curls
One
up
is
on your lap.
hedonic. It's the
Mrs.
avoidance
Kravachik
of pain
returns
and
and
attainment
plonks
of
the
pleasure.
teacups down
The other
loudly
is
on the
eudaimonic.
coffee table.
It's about
Thank
living
you.
a
He picks
purposeful
up the
and
teacup.
worthwhile
Is
life.
this part of the Moroccan tea set?
Self-actualizing or
So
achieving
did he
by
take
being
anything
true
and
to
not
your
return it?
nature
Only my
or
dignity.
potential.
Miss Mitchell, it doesn't look
The
like we
floods
can
and
include you as a
bushfires we've
victim.
experienced
It's
in
a shame that being
Australia
an appalling
have brought
human
us
isn't a
right
crime.
up against our
You could
physical
nab
and
him
emotional
immediately.
limits.
But the sense of
If being an
community
appalling
pulling
human were a
together was
crime, our jails would
inspiring.
be overrun.
During this
Why
time,
isn't it a crime
people
to destroy
involved in
someone's
the crisis
confidence?
reported feeling
Why is
exhausted
theft
but
only
highly
measured in
satisfied.
dollars?
Their
You
immediate
opened the
lives
door
had
to the
purpose,
hipster, but
to
you didn't
feed and house
invite the
people
savage put
who'd
down,
lost
the casual
everything.
undermining,
Energy comes
the
from the
torturous
perception that what we're
gaslighting or the
doing is
gut-churning
meaningful.
betrayal. He
When
robbed
free
you of more than
citizens
a
make
year of your
sacrifices for
precious
their
life.
country,
Why
community,
isn't eroding
culture, or
someone's
cause,
sense of self an
the positive
unlawful
feeling
act?
that drives action
Anything else that might
is
be
the
relevant?
eudaimonic kind
Well,
of happiness.
I now have a Groodle
The
and a very
deeply
nice
fulfilling
partner.
experience
They're at the dog
encourages
park.
people to
He
take
looks at
action
you.
that risks
If you think of
pain
anything, give me a
and
call.
forgoes
You
pleasure.
shut the door behind him.
Don't say
People
it.
need
No, I think
people.
about that hipster
History
beginning
puts
of
it
chaos,
beyond doubt.
says Mrs. Kovacic.
We are indeed stronger together.
free trading.
Science
You're in your
provides
flat
a compass.
enjoying pre-dinner drinks with
Evolution
Charlotte,
has given
trying
us a
not to
bias
think about
that
the
keeps us
hipster
connected.
or Rebecca from the real estate.
Warm
or
connections
Lydia.
with other people.
Does she have a
Connections that
husband
feel
who's still
caring and
working? What about her
encouraging,
child?
increase our sense of well-being.
Charlotte's wearing a Zimmerman dress.
Health outcomes
Having
are
halted
also
the sales,
influenced
you know
by
it's
these
worth
warm
$2,000.
connections.
Note, you can't identify the
I said
brand of her
influenced.
shoes, but you
I'm
know
not
they're
saying
expensive.
warm connections
Her
negate
hair
the
has
need
at
for
least
modern medicine
$800
to
worth
help
of
you
streaks
stay
in it,
well.
and she has never exhibited the
This
slightest
doesn't mean you need a
hint
primary
of
partner
regrowth.
to provide
Her
you with the
nails
connection that
are
makes you
perfect.
happy. It can
You've
be
never
any
been
person
able
you
to
connect with
identify
who
whether she's
genuinely
pretty
wishes you
or
well.
just artfully
The
made up.
barista at the coffee shop
She's like
who
a
knows you have an
pedigree
extra hot
Afghan
medium
sitting in a
latte
dog
and
shelter.
asks how your holiday
Only
was.
she can also look at her
The trainer
phone
at the
and
gym who
pour
knows your name
champagne
and that your knee is
simultaneously.
dodgy. The friend
What's
you
so
can ring at
riveting?
2
You
a.m.
say.
because you're
Just
home
checking my
alone and there's a
cryptocurrency
spider
trading
in your
account.
bedroom.
You are into
Okay,
crypto?
I've just
I
realised
trade.
why I may have
How's
lost
it
a couple
going?
of friends
Charlotte
along the way.
holds up your champagne flute.
The community
Works for
garden is
me.
an
You
excellent
accept the glass
example
and
of the
take a
strength
slug.
of a
Michael
collective
thinks
working
it's a big
towards a
con.
common goal.
You say.
An
She sits
aligned
back on
group
the
of
couch running
individuals
her fingers
operating
through
under
her
the
hair.
auspices of
He's had a
something
lot
bigger
of
than
experience
themselves
trading.
is incredibly
He
powerful.
hasn't traded, but he's
Mr.
read up
Yee
on
manages
Well,
to
I
haul
hope he's
Mr.
reading the
Kovacic
right
out of his
information.
depression
Haven't people
by
lost
teaching him to
fortunes?
plant sweet
Sure,
peas.
billions of other people's money.
The garden
It's
helps Mr.
criminal.
Kovacic
So
bond
why
with
hasn't
Will.
it been shut down?
It gives
It
Mrs.
can't
Yee
be
a
shut
way to
down. You'd have to
commemorate
turn off
Mr.
the
Yee.
internet.
It gives
that be
Mrs.
such a
Hume
bad
an
thing?
opportunity to create
Maybe
her
not.
legacy.
She kicks off
it
her
gives
shoes
Willow
and rubs her
inspiration to
feet.
dream
have to be
about helping
disciplined in your
autistic
approach.
kids.
Avoid
It gives
the
Michael a
exchanges
space to
based in
talk to
tax
Alec
havens
about his
run by
PTSD.
adolescents
It helps
impersonating
Kat
a
connect with her
financial
community,
institution.
which is
So
at the
it
end of the
works for
day,
you?
her
Sure.
saving grace.
Most important, don't
By
play
the
with
way,
real money.
I'm
until
sure
you've
there
made
are
100
community
or so
garden
paper
groups that
trades.
have
That's
descended
what I
into
do.
rancor and
Cock your
disarray.
head like porridge.
But please
Paper
don't
trades
email
are
me about
pretend
them.
trades,
My little
simulated
community
trades.
garden I have built
You're
in
not
this book
putting
is
in
perfect.
real money, but you see
It
the
is
impact of
possible
your
to
decisions.
connect to people
So,
who care
no money
and can
needed.
be trusted
Learning
in a
to
community
trade is not
garden
going to cost you
or in any
anything at all.
social
I have to
enterprise
stay
that
focused
operates
on keeping my
according to
job.
some common principles.
Company-wide cuts are happening.
Care and trust
That
can be
Gabriel
found in
guy
a
sounds
sporting
like a
team,
nightmare.
She
amateur
tops up your
dramatic
glass.
society,
Stop filling my glass.
community choir,
I'll
or
end up
gym.
like Eloise.
It can
Who's
be found in
Eloise?
business,
The woman whose house
in an
we stayed at
emergency
last
response
weekend.
group,
Eloise
the
smoked
leadership team, and
incessantly, was
everyday
drunk
work
and maybe
groups.
pregnant.
It's
But
about
possibly not
like-minded
Scott the
people
Pod, who
coming
was her
together to
boyfriend and
serve a
was a
common and
hairdresser who cut
worthwhile
my hair
purpose
because she set it on
and hopefully
fire.
have a cup
I
of
thought your
tea
hair looked
or glass
different.
of wine
Yep,
along
Scott
the way.
did a pretty good job, but
This
then
book is
drunk
about why we
Eloise
fall
inferred
for
he was
lies.
gay. It was ugly.
And
A
these
strong
are the best
community
Michael
of
can
people
do
who
for
are not
friends
afraid to
spend a
challenge
weekend
us
with.
as
Yep.
much as they care for
It was
us
fabulous.
is the best
Michael
defense
must have been
against
beside
those
himself with
who would
embarrassment.
seek to
He
do us
doesn't notice
harm.
stuff like that.
You say.
And if he
Lie
does,
detection,
he's very
safety in numbers.
non-judgmental.
If you're
Well, that's
making an
one word
important
for it.
decision
What do you
before
mean?
you act,
Well, I always thought
talk
my
to the
first
people you
husband
trust.
was like that.
Share the story.
Non-judgmental.
Don't
Then I
wait for
worked
the
out
next
he was
Charlotte to appear on the
disengaged.
horizon
Just
before you
wouldn't
invest in
land
warm
on anything.
connections with
Couldn't
people
form an opinion to
you
save
can
his
trust.
life. Drove me mad.
End of chapter
The
15.
exact opposite of Alec. Alec is nothing if not decisive.
Porridge puts his head in her lap and she strokes his ears. You wonder if Alec bullies Charlotte behind closed doors. Or is it just Will? Porridge looks up at Charlotte with deep devotion in his eyes.
We always had a dog when I was growing up. When we buy a house, I'll get Willow to terrorize Alec until he buys the kids a puppy.
What does Alec do?
He's an aviation consultant. People think the only reason I could be with him is because he's a hunk, but he's incredibly smart. $1,000 an hour consultant with a queue from here to Christmas of clients waiting on his advice.
Oh, cool. So you don't really need to work.
I like to. Also, kids are expensive.
I think my kids will have to make do with public school 1 block away. Also, I'm going to make them wear the same shoes until their toes poke through the socks.
Yep, solid plan.
Why didn't you have kids yourself?
She shrugs.
I never got around to it. I was busy having a career.
Which was...
I was a forensic accountant.
You frown.
It's an accountant with a side of detective. You've heard of Bernie Madoff?
Yes, I remember him because he made off with other people's money.
She laughs.
Well, Bernie Madoff came unstuck because forensic accountants worked out the details of the Ponzi scheme he was running and were able to explain it in legal terms for the courts.
Cool. So that's what you do.
Well, that's what I did. Now I trade.
She pours another glass of champagne.
Anyway, if anyone tries to scam you, let me know. I'll hunt them down for you.
You know, I was scammed a while ago, but I got my money back.
What? A phone scam?
Yep.
What a total disgrace. The bank should do more to prevent that.
You pick up Susan off the coffee table and put her on your lap. She sits stiffly, looking at Porridge's head in Charlotte's lap, preparing an assault. Charlotte pulls her phone out of her handbag, shows you a picture of a massive bunch of red long-stemmed roses.
Alec bought me these. Out of nowhere.
You feel the distasteful churn of dissatisfaction. Michael is not a flower giver, or a compliment giver for that matter. You've only just discovered he loves you.
Anyway, you're super smart, stunningly beautiful, charming, and have great business acumen. Stop putting up with that job. You're in the wrong environment.
You look down at your feet.
I need a pedicure.
She throws a nut at you. The nut hits Susan.
Stop it.
You say,
I can't leave now. Things will be better without Lydia. Also, I've got to have money for the building repairs.
Susan takes this moment to leap off your lap, jump on the couch next to Charlotte and smack Porridge on the head with her paw.
What is it with that cat?
She was biding her time. She thinks Porridge threw the nut.
She leans over and takes your hand.
You should be working for yourself.
Cat likes ranunculars.
So that's why he works odd hours.
You say to Michael. You're both folding washing in the lounge room. You've just folded his chicken T-shirt.
A consultant.
Yep. Apparently he's brilliant. Clients all over the world.
What industry?
Aviation. Charges thousands. And he gave her 36 long-stemmed red roses the other day for no reason. So you know.
Doesn't make sense.
What doesn't?
If he's charging thousands, why are they sitting in Mrs. Hume's flat? Why aren't they in a hotel?
Well, they're looking for the right place to buy.
They're taking their time.
He puts one of your T-shirts on your pile.
They can take as long as they like. They're Mrs. Hume's family.
He shrugs.
Would you chuck your family out?
You pick up your T-shirt and refold it.
Depends on how painful they are.
So why would Charlotte say he's earning that much if he's not?
You pick a sock off the floor. It has Susan's face on it. You'd given Michael these socks on your anniversary. You note this one has a hole in it.
Maybe he's lying.
You pause.
Now you have an opinion.
What do you mean? Now I have an opinion.
You stay pretty disengaged from everything, then suddenly Alec is a liar.
It's not sudden. I have opinions. I just don't shoot my mouth off every 5 seconds.
Are you saying I do?
No.
Are you saying that I'm the sort of person who just opens my mouth and blabs on?
No, that wasn't what I was saying.
That I spurt unsubstantiated rubbish?
No, I'm not talking about you.
That I'm just a capricious motor mouth?
A part of your brain is telling you to stop, but you're in full flight. Also, you're proud you've managed to use capricious while under pressure. Also, unsubstantiated is not bad.
Kat, no.
Don't bring the hipster up, you say to yourself.
This is what the hipster used to do to me. Encourage me to speak, then demean what I say. I can't deal with that again. Also, why are you keeping these socks? They have holes in them.
You poke your finger through the hole. You stand looking at each other. Your breathing is high in your chest.
I don't understand why you're upset.
You're a man. You just don't get it.
You put the sock on the table.
I'm going to walk Porridge.
You go to the door and get the lead. Don't go back to the argument, you say to yourself. It's a stupid argument. There's no winner in that argument. Be the bigger person and let it go. You go into the kitchen where Michael is now unpacking the dishwasher. He holds each glass up to the light, checking for smears.
I'm not saying I want you to give me roses. I mean, flowers are nice. But that's not why I said that.
Well, okay.
The glass he's holding passes muster. He puts it carefully in the cupboard.
But do you think I shoot my mouth off?
He leans on the bench.
No, Kat, I don't. I didn't start this conversation. You did.
No, I didn't. You called Alec a liar.
Well, maybe he is.
You compress your mouth.
I'll be back. I'll just try not to shoot my mouth off for the next 5 seconds.
Sure, Kat.
You clip the lead on Porridge, exit the flat, and then stand there on the other side of the door, riven with indecision. What does sure cat mean? Is it passive-aggressive? Is he waiting for you to come back in and say something? A cement wall of frustration pushes against your chest. You have always admired Michael's mild demeanour, but now you're wondering if it signifies a darker side or worse, a pathological disengagement. You go back inside. Michael is standing at the kitchen bench scratching Susan under the chin. He looks up.
Did you forget something?
Your hand is on the door. Porridge whines. Susan looks at you. She disapproves of irrational emotional displays. She's a very judgmental cat. You regret returning. You feel foolish.
I forgot my scarf. It's cold.
What's the point of saying anything? He's clearly let go of it.
It is cold.
You head towards the bedroom. Now you feel stupid. As a child, you would beg to be pushed on a swing. You'd be wildly excited until you felt the hand in the middle of your back propel you into the air. You'd cling to the cold metal chains, fighting the waves of nausea, praying for it to be over. You have the same sensation now, the ground dizzyingly falling away. You return from the bedroom without your scarf.
Where's your scarf?
Changed my mind.
You feel yourself floundering. The swing is mid-air. You go to the door.
Well, see you in a bit.
Hang on.
He goes into the bedroom, then reappears with your scarf. He wraps it around your neck.
Kat, I'm not very good about talking about stuff, but it's all good. I don't think you shoot your mouth off.
The swing comes to a halt. You stand, feeling the grass beneath your feet. Porridge puts his paws up on your shoulders.
Why do you think Alec is a liar?
I don't necessarily. It's just that sometimes their story doesn't fit. Like, why hasn't Willow gone to boarding school? The new term has started.
There was a COVID outbreak. They shut the school.
He raises his eyebrows.
You want a donut?
Ice caramel, please. What flowers do you like?
I like ranunculus.
You shut the door behind you. You're putting a tea bag in the bin that night when you notice Susan's face poking through the rubbish. You open the bin lid further and peer in. It's Michael's sock. You are the most horrible person in the world. Weep not for Lydia. It's easy to look at Lydia through Kat's eyes and see a micromanager with poor relationship skills. However, there is more to Lydia than these obvious flaws. She has been in the organisation for 18 years. She understands the systems and processes better than anyone. She has brilliant, long-standing relationships with clients, and she has helped David Firth withstand the influence of bad ideas propagated by overzealous consultants. Until now. David perceives that Lydia is not supporting him or his ambitions for the business. This is a lie. In truth, she does want the business to make the changes necessary for it to thrive. However, she's unsatisfied with the substance of Gabriel Randall's intentions. David has fallen victim to confirmation bias. He has begun seeing Lydia through Gabriel's lens. When Lydia voices well-founded skepticism, David perceives this to be negativity. Instead of exploring Lydia's perspective, he concludes prematurely that Lydia is a lost cause. Opposition is not insurrection. When a colleague or close friend or partner for that matter does not agree with you, avoid reflexively concluding that they are not on your side. This may be an error of perception on your part. They may agree on the desired outcome while disagreeing on the means to achieve it. This perception error is compounded by an ad hominem argument, which is an attack on the person rather than their argument. When Kat says to Michael, "You're a man, you just don't get it," she's using an ad hominem argument. She digs herself in further when she tells Michael that the hipster used to subject her to similar behaviour. She has fallen for availability bias, landing on what most easily comes to mind. In the moment of conflict, when she's struggling with an argument, the things her ex-boyfriend used to say to her come most easily to mind. Confirmation bias then kicks in. She's also climbed the ladder of inference. This concept explains why we jump to conclusions. On the ladder of inference, we find ourselves making a decision based on a tower of inferential statements. Kat concludes that Michael regards her as a capricious motormouth. She gets to this from the inference she gleans from Michael's statements, "I just don't shoot my mouth off every 5 seconds," meaning, according to Kat, unlike you. If Kat had slowed down and checked the veracity of Michael's statement, whether she was interpreting his inference correctly, she wouldn't have climbed up the tower in the first place. We often claim to want feedback, but do we? Or do we only want feedback if it supports what we think or feel? In the face of opposition, our instinct tends to be to shore up our position, to use confirmation bias to confirm we're right, and motivated reasoning to prove why what we are thinking or the course of action we've taken is valid. The hipster. Ew. Before Michael, Kat was in a relationship with the hipster. This relationship was at the centre of my first book, Why Smart Women Make Bad Decisions and How Critical Thinking Can Protect Them. As you may have inferred, the hipster is a narcissistic, gaslighting liar. Most women I know have, at some point, been in a relationship with someone who's narcissistic, a liar, violent, a non-contributor, or simply disinterested in their partner's needs. We lie to ourselves that they don't mean it, that they're trying as hard as they can, that they'll get a job eventually, that they get angry because they're under pressure, that they had an affair because we didn't give them enough attention. We put up with terrible behaviour because our capacity to lie to ourselves is outstanding. We indulge in motivated reasoning, skewing the evidence to come to the conclusion we want. Most often, the conclusion we come to is we should put up with whatever is wrong in the relationship because it's better than being alone. Abuse takes many forms. Coercive control is now considered illegal in New South Wales, Australia. The effects of putting up with abusive behaviour last long after a relationship is over. The loss of confidence, the self-doubt can seed through your whole life, contaminating areas of your existence where you were previously assured. You find yourself riven with doubt. Your happiness levels plummet while you turn yourself in knots trying to work out what went wrong. What can you do to arrest this decline in your confidence and happiness? Well, it's tricky, but managing to identify when you're lying to yourself is key. It's important to see where motivated reasoning is driving your thinking. There'll be myriad contributing factors, and seeing a psychologist to try and work out the underlying drivers is a good first step. Remember that we are all mysteries to ourselves. Trying to work out why we do things is difficult without external support. Also be aware that social media or other people in your life may be driving your need to emulate what looks to be a perfect relationship. Lie detection. Don't agree to disagree. Gird your loins and listen to the other person. You might learn something. Don't take rubbish treatment for any reason ever. That's all I have to say about this. End of chapter 10. Thanks for tuning into Why Smart Women with me, Annie McCubbin. I hope today's episode has ignited your curiosity and left you feeling inspired by my anti-motivational style. Join me next time as we continue to unravel the fascinating layers of our brains and develop ways to sort out the fact from the fiction and the over 6,000 thoughts we have in the course of every day. Remember, intelligence isn't enough. You can be as smart as paint, but it's not just about what you know, it's about how you think. And in all this talk of whether or not you can trust your gut, if you ever feel unsafe, whether it's in the street, at work, in a car park, in a bar, or in your own home, please respect that gut feeling. Staying safe needs to be our primary objective. We can build better lives, but we have to stay safe to do that. And don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the podcast and share it with your fellow smart women and allies. Together, we're hopefully reshaping the narrative around women and making better decisions. So until next time, stay sharp, stay savvy, and keep your critical thinking hat shiny. This is Annie McCubbin signing off from Why Smart Women. See you later. This episode was produced by Harrison Hess. It was executive produced and written by me, Annie McCubbin.